Hello and welcome to the Beckoning Bookshelf. I'm your host, Jeffrey Ashcraft. So, I did not plan on this being my first episode apart from the intro. I really didn't. I mean, seriously? And my first episode's on the Twits. You can't get deeper when it comes to literary depth than the Twits, can you? I mean, like, there's so much to discuss here. Yeah. So, but I did just learn about a movie adaptation for the Twits that's coming out on Netflix this week on October 17th. Yeah, now you know when I'm actually recording this. So, I figured, hey, I read that book. I know what's in that book. Might as well quickly do an episode on the Twits so that I could possibly do an episode on the movie and compare the two and see what's changed, see what's different. So yeah, that's why I'm suddenly doing an episode on the Twits. Speaking of, here we go. So the Twits was written by Roald Dahl. Yeah, same Roald Dahl who wrote Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, The Fantastic Mr. Fox, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, on and on and on and on and on. If I missed your favorite, I'm sorry, I'm not listing them all. But yeah, and this was published in 1980. It also apparently, at least partially, stemmed from Roald Dahl's dislike of beards. Apparently, he was not a big fan of beards. You know, like here on Mr. Twit, and here in the back. And I could kind of see it because the first chapter is all about beards and how maybe men who grow beards because they don't want people to see their face. Well, I wonder why. It's like, oh. And of course talks about just how annoying beards can be and upkeep and all that. So, yeah. So that's the history behind the Twits, at least that I'm aware of. Now, what's the book about? Well, the book is about Mr. and Mrs. Twit. Yeah, the Twits. And they are a couple of horrible, horrendous, horrid people. They really are. They hate everything. They are just nasty people. The only things that they like are playing pranks on each other, which they do very often and can be very nasty. And bird pie, which is, yeah, it's exactly as it sounds. Yep, they're also trying to make an upside-down monkey circus. So I guess that also makes them horrendous people. I don't know. But that's what the book's about. That's it. There is a plot, I guess, sort of, in a way. I mean, it meets the definition, but it's not all that prevalent, I would say. So, there you go. I enjoyed the book. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the book. And there's one part about the book that I'm going to tell you what I love best. Slight spoilers for what I think is the best part of the book, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really sure if you can spoil the Twits. But, when the book is describing Mrs. Twit, it describes her as very ugly and beastly, which, I mean, it kind of fits, right? But it also says that Mrs. Twit wasn't always like this. That, in fact, she looked quite nice in the past. So what happened? How did she turn into this? Well, apparently, according to Roald Dahl, she had a lot of ugly thoughts. And if all you think are ugly thoughts, then you're going to be an ugly person. It's going to show. And seriously, stop and think about this. I bet you if you think about it, you can think of someone right now who fits that description. Someone who just has a lot of ugly thoughts. They're just rather depressing to be around. It's just no fun to be around them. And you don't hate them or anything, but whenever you're with them, you just feel weighed down. You just feel depressed because they just have a lot of ugly thoughts. On the other hand, if you have a lot of lovely thoughts, then you're going to be a lovely person no matter what you look like. And again, think about it. I bet you can think of someone who fits that description. who you just love to be around because they're just so lovely. They're just so nice, so wonderful, so positive, so hopeful. And you just love being with them, just elates you. It just makes life happier. You just feel lighter with them. And whenever you have an opportunity to be around them, you just jump at the opportunity because it's just so great. And particularly, these people who are lovely may not fit the perfect human anatomy. They may not have like perfect human characteristics. They may have some physical flaws, for lack of a better word, to them. But they're just completely lovely and beautiful anyway because of their positivity, their positive thoughts. I bet you can totally think of someone like that. And I think that is so true. I think that is a good lesson of life. That the thoughts you have, if you have the primary thoughts you think about, be it positive, negative, whatever it be, they're going to show. They are going to have an effect on your physical appearance. This is a truth. And I think that's a really good truth that Roald Dahl teaches here. I really like that. So that, hands down, was my favorite part of the book. And I've totally taken that with me as a good lesson in life. Now, should you read the book? Well, yeah, it's a fun book. If you're looking for literary depth, look elsewhere. Literally what I just told you was as deep as the book goes. It doesn't really get any deeper than that. But if you just want a fun, short story about a couple of terrible people, yeah, this is a good book to read. And in fact, I gotta give Roald Dahl some credit because it takes some talent to write terrible people who are also likable. Because the Twits, I was about to say you're not supposed to like them, but no, you do like them, but they're terrible people. So Roald Dahl has a talent in making you like someone who's a terrible person. Doesn't mean you agree with what they do or like what they do, but they're fun to read about. So that is a talent that Roald Dahl has. And so that's a fun experience with this book. And that's about it for the Twits. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's a very short book. It's about 80 pages. So I'm briefly going to talk about the movie. Because I saw the trailer. That's how I learned about it. And I will tell you right now, it is different. It is different from this book. You got to add something. I mean, it's an 80-page book. And the majority of it is the Twits just being mean to each other. You got to add something if you're going to make it a movie. So I get adding stuff. I mean, the protagonists, if you've seen the trailer, they're not in the book. No, definitely not. And there's also magical creatures in the movie, I noticed. There aren't magical creatures in the book. At least I don't think so. I mean, there's the roly-poly bird, but I don't know if he counts. But here's my guess. I think the magical creatures, they turn the monkeys into magical creatures. That's my guess. We'll see if I'm right. And yeah, so is the movie going to be good? Is it going to be terrible? I have no idea. But I think it'll be fun to see. At least it looks promising. The animation looks good. The music sounds fun. The Twits themselves look fun, I guess. So we'll see. We'll see if it's any good. One last thing to talk about, because this is going to be a future episode. So 2 years ago, the Puffin Books, the UK publisher for Roald Dahl books, announced that it was publishing edited versions of Roald Dahl books. These edited versions have content that was removed that was potentially offensive to some readers. I think the publisher stated that they were aiming to make the books enjoyable for everyone to read today. Well, I've looked over the changes and wow, there's a lot of them. And there's a lot to talk about. So I'm excited to do an episode on that since I'm going to not talk about it here. I'm not going to talk about the changes on the Twits. I'll do a whole other episode on that because it is fascinating what they have changed. It is very, very interesting. So that's it. And I'd love to hear what you think of The Twits. If you've read it, if you enjoy it, what Roald Dahl book do you really like? What's your favorite Roald Dahl book? I haven't read a whole lot of Roald Dahl just yet, but I plan to. I think I have his full collection. I don't know. I'll have to check. But anyways, that's it. Thank you for being here. Thank you always for being here. You are awesome. And go find yourself a good book. And watch out for the dreaded shrinks. Don't get those.